Jonathan Harker, a young solicitor from London, embarks on a journey to Transylvania to assist Count Dracula in finalizing the purchase of an estate in England. The year is 1885, and Harker is filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation as he travels deeper into the Carpathian Mountains. As he approaches the infamous Castle Dracula, Harker is struck by its eerie silhouette against the twilight sky. The local villagers, wary and fearful, warn him of the castle's dark history and the malevolent presence of its master. Ignoring their superstitions, Harker presses on, driven by his sense of duty and curiosity. Upon reaching the castle, Harker is greeted by Count Dracula, a tall, imposing figure with an aristocratic demeanor and penetrating gaze. Dracula welcomes him warmly but with an underlying air of mystery. The castle itself is a labyrinth of ancient corridors, dimly lit chambers, and shadowed corners that seem to whisper secrets of centuries past. In the days that follow, Harker's initial impressions of Dracula begin to unravel. He notices peculiarities in the Count's behavior, his aversion to sunlight, his unnaturally sharp teeth, and his nocturnal habits. Curiosity turns to suspicion when Harker discovers hidden passages leading to crypts filled with coffins and ancient manuscripts detailing occult rituals. One fateful night, unable to sleep, Harker wanders into one of these forbidden crypts. To his horror, he witnesses Dracula in his true form, fangs bared, feeding on the blood of a young maiden. The sight freezes Harker in terror as he realizes the true nature of the man he had come to assist. Before he can react, Dracula senses Harker's presence. With supernatural speed, he confronts the horrified solicitor. "You were not meant to see this," Dracula hisses, his eyes gleaming with hunger and menace. Harker stammers, clutching a crucifix instinctively, but Dracula's hypnotic gaze renders him immobile. Dracula's vampire bride, a seductive and unearthly beauty, emerges from the shadows. She circles Harker with predatory grace, her eyes locking onto his, filling him with a strange mix of fear and desire. "You are ours now," she purrs, her voice echoing with a chilling allure. Harker attempts to resist, his mind reeling from the realization that he is trapped in a nest of vampires. With renewed determination, he brandishes a wooden stake he had concealed beneath his coat, aiming for Dracula's heart. The Count, however, is quicker, anticipating Harker's move. With a swift motion, he disarms the solicitor and pins him to the ground. "You dare to defy me in my own domain." Dracula's voice rumbles like distant thunder, cold and commanding. Harker struggles against the vampire's supernatural strength but finds himself overpowered. The bride watches with amusement, her laughter echoing through the crypt as Harker's hopes of escape fade. Harker awakens in a dark, windowless chamber within the depths of Castle Dracula. His head throbs with pain, his memories fragmented and confused. The events of the night blur together, the crypt, the vampire bride's haunting beauty, Dracula's piercing gaze. Reality merges with nightmare as Harker realizes the gravity of his situation. Days turn into weeks as Harker languishes in captivity. He is visited intermittently by Dracula, who taunts him with promises of immortality and power. "Join us," the Count urges, his voice like velvet and steel. "Embrace the darkness within you." Haunted by guilt and fear, Harker struggles to resist the vampiric urges creeping into his consciousness. He dreams of Mina, his beloved fiancée in London, and of his friend Van Helsing, a renowned expert on the occult whom he had consulted before. Embarking on his ill-fated journey, physically and mentally, Harker begins to change. His skin grows pale and clammy, his senses heightened to the slightest sound and scent. The thirst for blood gnaws at his insides, a primal hunger that terrifies and exhilarates him in equal measure. In moments of clarity, Harker fights against the darkness consuming him. He searches for means of escape, driven by the memory of Mina and the hope of redemption. Yet each attempt is thwarted by Dracula's ever-watchful eye and the bride's mocking laughter. One night, during a rare moment of solitude, Harker discovers an ancient journal hidden beneath the floorboards of his chamber. The journal, written in a language he struggles to decipher, reveals the tragic fate of others who had crossed paths with Dracula, souls lost to eternal night, their lives extinguished or transformed beyond recognition. Determined to break free from his captivity, Harker resolves to confront Dracula once more. Armed with newfound knowledge and a shard of mirror from his shattered reflection, he ventures into the castle's labyrinthine corridors, seeking the vampire's lair. Dracula awaits him in the heart of the castle, a regal figure cloaked in shadows. "You seek to defy me again," he sneers, his eyes ablaze with ancient fury. Harker stands firm, his heart pounding with a mixture of dread and determination. Their battle is fierce and relentless. Dracula's supernatural strength and agility prove formidable, but Harker fights with a desperation born of newfound resolve. With each blow exchanged, memories of his former life and the love he left behind spur him onward. In a decisive moment, Harker manages to pierce Dracula's heart with the shard of mirror, causing the vampire to recoil in agony. "You cannot defeat me," Dracula snarls, his form flickering like a wisp of smoke. But Harker presses on, driven by a righteous fury and the need to protect those he holds dear. As dawn breaks over the horizon, the castle trembles with the echoes of their struggle. Harker knows that his time is running out, his strength waning with each passing moment. With one final effort, he delivers the fatal blow that seals Dracula's fate, a wooden stake driven deep into the vampire's heart. With Dracula's destruction, Castle Dracula begins to crumble around them. Harker watches in awe and exhaustion as the walls collapse, burying the remains of his tormentor beneath tons of ancient stone. The vampire bride, bereft of her master, vanishes into the shadows, her laughter echoing through the ruins. Dr. Van Helsing arrives at the castle just as the sun rises, its golden rays dispelling the lingering darkness. He finds Harker, weakened but victorious, standing amidst the rubble. The two men embrace, their relief tempered by the knowledge of the sacrifices made and the lives lost in their battle against the forces of darkness. Together, they return to England, where Mina awaits them with a mixture of joy and sorrow. Harker's transformation into a vampire is halted by Dracula's demise, but the scars of his ordeal run deep. He vows to rebuild his life with Mina by his side, forever mindful of the price paid for their victory. And so ends the harrowing tale of Jonathan Harker, a man who dared to confront the horrors of the night and emerged forever changed. His journey serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love in the face of unspeakable evil. Jonathan Harker, a young and ambitious solicitor from London, was assigned the task of traveling to Transylvania to assist Count Dracula in acquiring an estate in England. Little did Harker know the horror that awaited him in the mysterious castle nestled deep in the Carpathian Mountains. Harker's journey began with optimism but soon turned ominous as he realized that his host, Count Dracula, was no ordinary nobleman. Strange occurrences and unsettling encounters with Dracula's eerie servants raised Harker's suspicions. Despite these unsettling events, Harker pressed on with his duties, determined to fulfill his professional obligations. As days passed, Harker discovered more about Dracula's true nature, a vampire. feeding on the blood of the living to sustain his unholy existence. The castle itself seemed to conspire against Harker, its shadows harboring ancient secrets and unspeakable horrors. However, Harker's worst fears were realized when he stumbled upon the truth about Dracula's sinister intentions. He witnessed the Count in his true form, a creature of the night with fangs that gleamed in the moonlight. The Count's insidious charm turned to menace as he revealed his plans to travel to England, where fresh blood and new conquests awaited him. Desperate to escape the castle and warn the world of the impending danger, Harker plotted his escape. But Dracula's powers were formidable, and each attempt seemed to lead him deeper into the labyrinthine corridors of the castle, where death lurked behind every corner. In a final, daring move, Harker managed to evade Dracula's grasp and flee into the surrounding wilderness. Exhausted and terrified, he stumbled upon a village where he sought refuge and aid. There, he met Van Helsing, a renowned expert in obscure diseases and ancient folklore. Dr. Van Helsing, upon hearing of Harker's harrowing ordeal and sensing the presence of true evil, resolved to investigate further. Armed with knowledge garnered from years of study and a steadfast belief in the supernatural, Van Helsing embarked on a journey to Transylvania. His mission: to confront the malevolent force that threatened not just Harker's life, but the very fabric of humanity itself. Arriving at Dracula's castle, Van Helsing encountered eerie silence and an oppressive atmosphere that spoke volumes of the evil that resided within. Inside, he found evidence of Harker's struggle, shattered remnants of the young solicitor's brave attempts to thwart the vampire's plans. Van Helsing delved deeper into the castle's secrets, uncovering ancient texts and forgotten lore that hinted at Dracula's true nature and his centuries-old reign of terror. Each revelation only strengthened Van Helsing's resolve to put an end to the vampire's reign of terror once and for all. In the castle's darkest depths, Van Helsing finally confronted Count Dracula himself. The vampire lord, confident in his immortality and power, underestimated the determination of his adversary. A battle of wills and wit ensued, with Van Helsing employing every weapon at his disposal, sacred symbols, knowledge of vampire weaknesses, and unwavering courage. The confrontation reached its climax in a dramatic showdown amidst the castle's crumbling architecture and swirling mists. Van Helsing, drawing upon his expertise and sheer force of will, managed to subdue Dracula long enough to deliver a fatal blow, a wooden stake through the vampire's unbeating heart. As Dracula's form disintegrated into dust and mist, Van Helsing knew that the battle was won, but the war against darkness was far from over. With Harker avenged and the immediate threat extinguished, Van Helsing vowed to continue his quest, to hunt down any remaining minions of the night and protect humanity from the horrors that lurked in the shadows. Thus concludes the tale of Harker's demise and Dr. Van Helsing's valiant stand against the horror of Dracula. A timeless saga of courage, sacrifice, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. In the quaint town of Whitby, England, Lucy Holmwood lay in her bed, her delicate frame shrouded in an air of malaise that had puzzled the local physicians. It was a late summer evening when her fiancé, Jonathan Harker, returned from his business trip to Transylvania, bearing news of strange occurrences in a foreboding castle nestled in the Carpathian Mountains. Lucy had eagerly awaited Jonathan's return, her heart filled with both joy and concern for his safety. Yet, upon seeing him, her demeanor had shifted subtly. She was pale, almost ghostly, and her once lively eyes now held a faint hint of exhaustion. Jonathan, ever observant, noticed the change immediately. "My dearest Lucy," Jonathan began, gently taking her hand in his. What ails you? You seem not yourself." Lucy managed a weak smile, though her voice betrayed a weariness that troubled Jonathan deeply. "It is nothing, Jonathan. Just a passing fatigue, perhaps." But Jonathan was not convinced. He had seen the vibrant spirit that was Lucy Holmwood, full of life and laughter, now diminished to a mere shadow of herself. Something weighed heavily upon her, something beyond the grasp of ordinary medicine. Dr. Seward, a close family friend and physician, had been attending to Lucy's case diligently. His expertise had proven invaluable in many cases, yet Lucy's condition defied his usual diagnoses. He had seen patients with fevers, with nervous disorders, even with symptoms of melancholia, but Lucy's illness eluded classification. Her symptoms were subtle yet persistent: a slight pallor, occasional dizziness, and an unexplained fatigue that no amount of rest seemed to alleviate. Van Helsing, a renowned professor and physician from Amsterdam, arrived in Whitby at Drive. Seward's urgent request. His reputation preceded him, an expert in obscure maladies and a scholar of ancient folklore that bordered on the supernatural. It was Van Helsing who had treated cases that others deemed beyond explanation. His methods a blend of modern science and arcane wisdom. Upon examining Lucy, Van Helsing's brow furrowed in deep concern. He observed her with an intensity that bespoke a mind calculating every possibility, no matter how improbable. As he withdrew from her bedside, he motioned for Jonathan and Dr. Seward to join him in the parlor. "There is something amiss here," Van Helsing began, his voice grave. "Something that surpasses the boundaries of our conventional understanding." Jonathan leaned forward, his eyes fixed on Van Helsing's face. "What do you suspect, Professor?" Van Helsing hesitated briefly, as if weighing his words. "Vampirism," he finally uttered, his voice barely above a whisper. Both Jonathan and Dr. Seward recoiled at the suggestion, exchanging incredulous glances. Vampirism, a creature of myth and legend, a tale told to frighten children and entertain superstitious minds. Yet, in Van Helsing's piercing gaze, they saw a conviction that brooked no disbelief. "You cannot be serious, Drive," Seward exclaimed, his skepticism tinged with concern for his patient's well-being. "Vampires exist only in folklore and fiction." Van Helsing nodded solemnly. Folklore often stems from a seed of truth, however obscured by time and disbelief. Lucy's symptoms, her pallor, her weakness, are consistent with the condition of those who have been preyed upon by such creatures. Jonathan's mind raced, memories of his harrowing journey through the darkened corridors of Castle Dracula flashing before his eyes. Could it be possible? Could the evil he had witnessed in Transylvania have followed him home? Its malevolent influence reaching even into the heart of his beloved Lucy? "We must act swiftly," Van Helsing declared, his demeanor now one of grim determination. "There are methods, ancient and forgotten, that may yet save her." And so began a desperate battle against an adversary unseen and unknown. A battle fought not only with medicine and science, but with the courage to confront the darkness that threatened to engulf them all.